Hey, everybody. Welcome to your Leo Full Moon Tarotscopes. Hello, Carlin. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Studio Owl. Hi, Studio Owl. Hi, Sin. Hi, LK and Regan and Bot and the Everyday Therapist and Spiraling Monk. Nice to see everybody. Thanks for joining my live stream. We have a lot to talk about today for your Leo Full Moon that we have on Sunday. So let's get to it and see what we have in store for our Leo full moon. No, it's not a haircut. No haircut. I don't have it like gelled back because I'm in a little bit of a rush today. No haircut. Don't worry. So the full moon in Leo that we have this Sunday is associated with self-expression, creativity, and leadership, right? So it's all very much about expressing ourselves, being creative, and being a leader. And it can bring a strong desire this full moon to be in the spotlight and to be recognized for our talents and abilities. And while sharing yourself with the world, you're creating the world you live in at the same time. So when you're expressing yourself, you're creating your universe. So that's a good incentive to do whatever it is that you can to express yourself, not only Sunday, but those next 2 weeks, for sure. Your kingdom come. So if everything you ever wanted is living inside of you, it stands to reason that if you express yourself, you'll be allowing it to come alive, right? So if you can express the richness, your gifts, your talents, your ideas, and your abilities, you'll allow it. You'll allow whatever you want to manifest because you'll be flowing with your energy. So another reason to really express yourself. When Leo energy is strong, either if it's in your chart and it's really strong, or if Leo energy is strong in the heavens, we're all like little kids at heart, right? We want to play, we want to have fun, we want to enjoy ourselves and not take life so seriously. Leo just wants to have a really good time. Leo might say, if we're not here to enjoy ourselves, what are we here for anyway? That's a big Leo sentiment. And really, Sinatra made it really, really clear for us with his song Young at Heart. And life gets more exciting with each passing day. And love is either in your heart or on its way. Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart? And that is really key for this Leo full moon. It's all about being young at heart. And if you can't follow Sinatra, then maybe you'll listen to Jesus. Maybe you'll listen to Jesus. So, in Matthew, there's a story that the disciples came to Jesus and said, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" And calling to him a child, he put him in the midst of them and said, "Truly, I say to you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." So this idea of being like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven is not only in Matthew, but we see it in Mark, we see it in Proverbs, we see it in Luke, and we see it in John. So even if you're not Catholic or Christian, the Bible does have some really great wisdom that is incorporated in a lot of New Age thought. So the question really begs to be asked, how are we supposed to be like children? Like children how? So if we need to be like children to enter the kingdom of heaven, what exactly does that mean? So I did a little bit of research on this, on what people might think about that verse or those verses of how we need to be like children to enter the kingdom of heaven. And I ripped this from different sources online. So essentially, children are joyful, so we can enter the kingdom of heaven joyfully. Children receive with a sense of awe, wonder, and joy. We can enter the kingdom of heaven humbly because children have no credits, no clout, no claims. They're aware of their limitations. Expectantly, The children came boldly to Jesus because they had perfect trust independently. It is his hope, God's hope, that we would cling to Christ so intently that we could say it's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. In Galatians, they say that. Oh, innocent. I like that as well. Innocent. Yes, innocent. Really, really true. So these are the things that might explain what they meant, right? What he meant in the Bible. So we have a kingdom of possibilities, and expressing ourselves authentically, we're allowing our greatness to shine through. But in order to truly be great, according to the Bible, we're advised to be like children. We're advised to be joyful, humble, expectant, and dependent on God and source. So the expectancy is important. You can't want something without expecting it to happen, right? The expectancy helps yield the result. And that's a problem at times because we're trained to not expect too much and we won't be let down. But really, the expectancy is what opens the door. So keep that in mind. And really, when we're dependent, meaning we don't have to do this alone, we don't have to go through life alone. We can be connected to Christ, we can be connected to source, we can be connected to Buddha, etc. And in doing so, no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me, as they say in Galatians. Yes, exactly. You can, if you expect something bad to happen, totally, you're creating it. You know, you're putting it in your field because, say you're thinking, oh, this could happen or that could happen. It's going in your third eye and it's running throughout your whole body, right? And you're broadcasting that. So what you expect often yields. So full moons, getting to our full moons. Full moons are a time for us to release and relinquish. If we have anything toxic in our lives, this is the time to let it go. So we can do that through meditation, through exchanging ideas, spiritual practice, anything that you think might work will work. Full moons are a time of completion, fulfillment, and letting go. So as you probably know, under the new moon, we draw things into our lives. Under the full moon, we let things go. So it's like imagining under the new moon and then releasing under the full moon. And this full moon has a square. So a square aspect in astrology occurs when two planets are 90 degrees or 3 signs apart in the zodiac. So like all the fixed signs are square to each other, all the mutable signs and all the cardinal signs are all square to each other. So this aspect is considered challenging and can indicate a tension. It can indicate tension or conflict between the energies represented by the two planets. So both planets in a square need to be appeased. We got to find some kind of common ground, some kind of adjustment. So this full moon, we have a Uranian square. So this square aspect to Uranus suggests that there may be surprises and delights, positively, as well as sudden changes or disruptions. Now, this is not just on the full moon that we have on Sunday, but the next 2 weeks from that, up until the 19th of February. So this Uranian square could manifest as a sudden opportunity to showcase our talents, or a surprise setback or obstacle to achieving our goals. So keep that in mind. Just a little bit about Uranus. Uranus enters a new sign every 7 years. It takes, I think, 84 years for Uranus to transit the whole zodiac. Uranus is associated with technology, change, humanitarianism, freedom, and individual rights. Its influence can bring about unconventional thinking, unpredictability, rebellion, and the tendency to challenge authority. They're very anti-authoritarian. Uranian people or Aquarians, because Uranus is the planet that rules the sign of Aquarius. So the sign of a Uranus in a birth chart indicates your generation's biggest achievements, because it's 7 years, right? And by house placement, because that's specific to you, it might indicate your greatest achievement or where you're going to be shaking things up in the world in your life. So when we're talking about a Uranian square, this full moon, it's really survival of the fittest. And survival of the fittest is not really about being fit, but it's about being able to adapt to change. That's what the survival of the fittest means, right? So we want to adapt. The full moon square Uranus may bring a feeling of restlessness or a desire for freedom and independence. So the key to this Uranian square is to navigate it is to be open to change and to be willing to adapt to new circumstances. And just remember that all circumstances are inherently neutral. Should we assign positive meaning to an inherently neutral circumstance, we'll derive positive results. Also, this full moon is we have a Venus squaring Mars. So positively, desires are going to be stimulated both creatively and in relationships. So it's a very sexy, hot transit, right? Venus square Mars. You could experience creative breakthroughs, new ways to express yourself, and spontaneous discovery of an innovative style or new technique. So if you're an artist or you're creative, definitely get creative this full moon and really over the next 2 weeks. Negatively, impulsivity is possible. So we need to be mindful of the consequences of fiery actions and behaviors, especially with the Uranian square, right? It's just a good idea to really be judicious and to pick our battles carefully over the next 2 weeks from Sunday. And dynamic changes can lead to the reevaluation of our values. So just keep that in mind. We do have that Venus square Uranus. It's really good for sex. I don't know what else you really could, well, creativity and these things, but it's really a very sexy transit. So if you don't have an outlet, either a creative outlet or a romantic outlet, well, I don't know, find an outlet, maybe exercise. You feel, I understand. It's okay. It's okay. Yes, the fire, Sin. Lots of fire there. No doubt about it. So for this full moon, if you could find out where 16 degrees of Leo falls in your chart, that's where there's going to be illumination, completion, and fulfillment. And if you find out where Taurus is at 15 degrees in your chart, you'll find out where there might be some stuff that's stirred up. 15 degrees of Taurus in your astrology chart is where there may be a challenge with the newfound insight and or self-expression. So the full moon is brightening up this area of your chart, right? And then you have Uranus making a square, and it's almost like how do we find a balance between these two different energies? So we're going to talk all about it and see how you can make the most of it. For Aries or Aries rising, now just so you know, these are very general horoscopes because I use the Placidus system, not the equal house system. So I'm a lot more technical when I do actual readings, but this should give you a general idea of what's going on for your full moon. So Aries, this full moon is actually hitting your 5th house. The 5th house is the house that actually rules Leo, or Leo rules the 5th house. So it's a time to embrace heightened creativity, Aries, self-expression, pleasure, and drive. Now, the square is going on in your 2nd house of resources, which covers money, your self-worth, your self-expression, and your values. So the key for you, Aries, is to express yourself while maintaining that security and that stability. So doing whatever it is that you can to make sure that your fun and your play doesn't get in the way of you making money, of you being true to your values, etc. Oftentimes with a square like this, it might be a matter of, like, say you're in an office, right? And you have opinions that are perhaps not acceptable. I mean, how do you go about your day-to-day, right, without being and expressing yourself without being judged? So that's an instance in which the 5th house squaring the 2nd house could be a problem. You need to express yourself, but at the same time, you're like, oh, I still have to make money. I still got to hold down my job, right? It also could be a matter of you feel with the 5th house, 2nd house square that your creativity, you're not being able to be creative while making money. So it might be a matter with this square to determine, okay, well, what can I do creatively that I can also monetize, right? It might be a side hustle. It might be also honing a new talent or skill so you can cash in on it. So that should be easy for you to sort of handle with that square. It's going to give you an opportunity to actually find out, oh, if I express myself in this way, I'll make more money. Or if I express myself in this way, I'll increase my self-worth. So keep that in mind, Aries. Let's see what card you get, Aries, for some wisdom, some tarot wisdom for your full moon in Leo. Very fun moon for you, Aries. Let's see. So some wisdom for Aries for this full moon. Wisdom, Aries for this full moon. Okay. So 9 of Swords. This is wisdom in the sense that don't overthink, right? With 9 of Swords, nothing really bad is going on in this card except for the fact that he's driving himself nuts, right? He's like worrying, he's over intellectualizing. So with the 9 of Swords, you want to be aware that if you overthink, do something creative, like get out of your head and get into your heart. That's really key with the 9 of Swords, right? This guy clearly is not in his heart, right? He's worrying about things. He's thinking about things. So this full moon, it might be very, very intense. Don't worry about things, because worrying, especially if you're dealing with something in terms of money, when we worry about money, the flow of it stops into our lives. So you never want to worry about money. You got to just do whatever it is that you can to focus on, maybe with 9 of Swords, 9 things that you're grateful for, right? But get your head out of negative thinking. Do whatever it is that you can to just think in ways that feel good. This could be being artistic. This could be enjoying yourself. This could be having fun. Do whatever it is that you can to make sure that you're not going down that path. Because sometimes when we start worrying, it's almost a matter of the thoughts multiply, like via law of attraction. I think of a bad thought and then I'm like, oh, and then this, and then this. And before I know it, I'm painting myself into a corner. So do whatever you can to definitely think those thoughts that feel good, and just try not to focus on anything that doesn't feel good. Action, exercise, being creative, counting your blessings, and just playing. That ought to help you this full moon. So Taurus, your full moon in Leo is hitting your 4th house of home and family. So it's time to unlock all the love from your home, family, or whatever makes you feel yummy. The 4th house is all about emotional security. It's what makes us feel safe and secure. It's our emotional foundation. So the challenge with the full moon squaring your 1st house, because Uranus is in your sign, you might have an issue between your home and family and a need for independence. So think of it this way. 4th house is your home and family, and 1st house is you. It's all about you and yourself. And with Uranus in your sign, Taurus, you're feeling very, very independent, very rebellious. So how do you balance this? There might be an issue in the sense of your family needs you, but you want to be alone. You want to do your own thing, right? Or your family needs you and you need to go on a trip, or you want some adventure. You want to do something that is all for you, that you don't want to necessarily involve other people. It also could be a matter of you want to maintain your emotional security, but you also want to create a new identity and really change things up. Uranus in your 1st house, or excuse me, your solar 1st house, or in your sign. I mean, Tauruses are going through so many changes. So it's a matter of doing whatever it is that you can to appease your need for emotional security and your family and their needs too, and also your independence. So good luck with that, Taurus. Let's see what wisdom we get from the tarot to help you with that square, making sure that your individual needs are being balanced with the needs of your home and family. So some wisdom for Taurus for the full moon. Let's see. Ooh, the devil. So when the devil comes up, there's an old expression: God comes down to earth and creates a religion, and the devil comes right down after and organizes it. Excuse me, organizes it. So you can do both. It's a matter of you just have to be really, really structured and organized. So, for instance, maybe it's a matter of you promise your family, we're going to Disneyland, right? But before that, I'm going on a trip on my own, right? Maybe that's it, right? You got to just organize maybe your time better in order to fulfill your needs as well as your family needs. With the devil card too, it could be a matter of really just being very, very powerful in a lot of respects and manifesting maybe a babysitter or doing something that allows you to organize your life in such a way that you're taking care of your emotional needs, you're taking care of your family, your children, if you have children, but you're also doing stuff for you. The devil makes shit happen, right? It's really very much about manifestation. So maybe you need to stay up just later some nights, or maybe you need to hire a babysitter, anything that you can do, but there is a way to organize it. Really key for you to balance the first house, yourself and your own needs with your family's needs or your emotional needs, is organization. So keep that in mind. Hey, Karen, nice to see you. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that resonated as well. So yeah, Taurus, you'll be all set. You just got to maybe hire a sitter. Hire a sitter, please. So you can do your own thing. So for Gemini, well, Gemini, your full moon in Leo is hitting your third house. So it's the house that your sign rules, Gemini, the third house. So you want to embrace this full moon, excellent communications. Excuse me. So pay attention to what you say to yourself, especially. That's the most important person you'll ever communicate with is yourself. So the challenge with you is that you have a square with between your third house and your 12th house. So your 12th house is the secret part of your chart, the subconscious part of your chart, right? So there may be a challenge speaking and socializing when there are secrets that you don't wish to reveal, or you just want privacy and you want to be alone. So the third house is like chit chat and talking and socializing and teaching and learning. And the 12th house, it's about the subconscious. It's about wanting to be alone, wanting to hibernate. It can be very much about soul seeking and soul searching. And with the 12th house transit, you really need like some downtime. Like you need to like hide under the covers, right? And process things. It's a good time to sleep more. So the issue is you probably want to be social and you want to learn things, but you also have this need to be alone. Otherwise, it might be a matter of you want to communicate with people, but you also have some secrets that you can't really, you got to be careful what you say. That may be the case if you're having any secrets. But usually it's a matter of you wanting to communicate, but you also really need quiet. So let's see, Gemini, what wisdom you get for this full moon that's hitting your third house. Okay. Queen of Pentacles. So, Queen of Pentacles is ruled by Taurus. So you want to like act like a Taurus, right? Just say the right thing. I mean, if you want to really work with Queen of Pentacles energy, it's just a matter of just doing the right thing. Tauruses are pretty much about protocol. Like they don't like do anything that is avant-garde or weird or different, right? It's a matter of you doing what's expected. So with the Queen of Pentacles, it's really about maintaining the status quo and saying those things that you feel might be practical to say or make you look good or things like that. And also with Queen of Pentacles, it's about maintaining a healthy diet. So we're not talking just about food, but it's the right diet of like, okay, well, I'm going to be spending time alone on Wednesday. Maybe I'll go out with friends on Thursday. So it's about finding the right combination of things. So just balance those things and just say and do the right thing. Just act like a Taurus. Be practical. Maintain the status quo. Don't make waves. And that should balance that square between your 3rd and 12th house. So for Cancer, your full moon is hitting your 2nd house, your house of money. So let the money flow this full moon as you express yourself through your financial endeavors. So that's the key. Like we have a full moon in Leo, so you want to express yourself through whatever house it's transiting. The challenge with this full moon in Leo for you may be aligning your personal values and self-worth with your friends, community, or larger hopes, dreams, wishes, and goals. So you essentially have a new beginning in your 2nd house, which is all about money and how you make money on a regular basis, right? And there's a square there with your 11th house, your bigger goals and your dreams, and also perhaps your friends. So there could be an issue in the sense of, well, I have this job and I need to pay my bills, but I really want to be doing this. It's really tough. Like for instance, for writers, right? If they're in a corporate job, it's really tough to look at a computer all day and then go home and look at a computer all day and write again. So there's some kind of conflict between how you are making money and sustaining yourself with your larger goals and dreams. Or it could be a matter of in the 2nd house, there might be some issue in terms of your sense of self-worth and also your friends, right? There might be an issue in terms of your values that they're not aligning with what your friends' values are, or the values of a group. So it's sort of like, well, I'm feeling this way. Is this my tribe? So you'll balance it out. I think usually it's going to be a matter of like making sure that your values are lined up with your bigger goals, right? So let's see what guidance we have for you, Cancer, for your full moon in Leo. How you can balance that square. Oh, okay. So the sun comes up. So this is really kind of like having it all, like doing whatever it is that you can to be more like the sun. The sun card is ruled by the sign of Leo, right? So you want to allow yourself to shine everywhere. Like that's going to be key for you, Cancer. The sun doesn't, say, oh, I'm going to shine on this person and not on that person. So do what you can to really, really express yourself in a big, broad way. That'll help your finances with your 2nd house full moon, but it'll also help your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, and your goals, right? So be like the sun, shine on your friends, shine in your work, shine financially, right? And also put yourself out there to achieve your biggest hopes, dreams, wishes, and goals. Like this is a really good moon for you to do that. So keep that in mind, Cancer, with your full moon in Leo in the 2nd house. Thank you, Sin. Yes, they need a good tribe. They need a good tribe. That's for sure. So let's talk about Leo. Leo, this is your full moon. Super exciting, Leo. Your full moon is in your 1st house of identity. So it's time to show off your personality and enhance the way you present to others. So the 1st house has to do with your the first impressions you make. Hi, nice to meet you. My name is, and that's the first impression you make, right? So if you're Leo rising, you're changing that a little bit, right? You're saying, okay, well, this is how I want to present myself. This is how I want to shine, right? So the challenge may be balancing your need for autonomy and self-expression with your need for professional success and a positive public image. So what this means is you have a 2nd house going up against and squaring your 10th house. Excuse me, your 1st house is going up against your 10th house. So how your personality, how you express yourself is creating a little bit of a problem or a conflict with your place in the world, your reputation, right? So you got to find some way to express your personality that keeps you rising up the ranks professionally, right? Oftentimes, it might be a matter of like you need to you need to rise up the ranks professionally. So that might mean, oh, well, I have to keep my mouth shut or I can't say this, right? So we're going to find some way for you to continue to express yourself while looking good in the public eye. So maybe it's a matter of finding another outlet so you're able to give yourself that sense of self-expression in a very, very safe way so it doesn't get you in trouble professionally. I would say that if you're working in an office environment, you can't unring a bell, right? So when in doubt, leave it out. Find areas in which you can just like let it all hang out. So when you're at work, you're not saying those things that might be better off unsaid. So let's see, Leo, what you need to know in regard to that. And there also might be a brand new way of you expressing yourself that can bring you up the ranks professionally. So let's see here. Leo, some wisdom for your full moon in your sign. Wisdom for Leo. How perfect. The strength card, which is your card, one of your indicators for Leo that rules Leo, the strength card. So the key is with this card, she's gently prying open or closing the lion's mouth, right? She's not doing it with force. And the lion really represents all that is unruly within us, right? So it's a matter of, we all have this beast, right, within. So the beast can be willy-nilly and go free and growl and whatnot. It can be it can be too much, right? Or the beast can be suppressed, and that's no good either. So the key is to like guide your beast and have a certain level of soft control. So when it comes to expressing your personality and also rising up the ranks, keep your beast in line, right? That doesn't mean that you need to suppress it, but be intentional. Like, okay, I'm going to say this in this way, or I'm not going to say this, whatever it might be. So soft control is going to be what allows you to really work with this Leo moon. And I also would suggest make sure you have an area in your life in which you're able to let it rip. So you're not like, oh, geez, I don't want this to, I can't say this to this person. You should have a sounding board, right? Somebody that you can trust, just so you can go off. So happy full moon in your sign, Leo. Oh, it's your numerology card too. That is funny. That's pretty awesome. So, Virgo, your full moon is in your 12th house. So this is a time of spiritual growth and transcendence. It's a time to really release any subconscious patterns that are holding you back. So you want to adjust your beliefs that align with your desire to expand your mind and explore new ideas. Because what you're going through, Virgo or Virgo rising, is a square. The Uranian square is between your 12th house and your 9th house. Very, very different, right? The 12th house, you want to be alone, you want to hibernate. The full moon is shining a light there, and you're understanding more about your subconscious, your paradigms, what makes you tick, why you do the things you do. Meanwhile, Uranus is making a square in your 9th house. So it's almost like you're wanting an adventure. You have this wanderlust. You're like, okay, what's next? What do I want to do? I want to explore. I want to learn. But there may be some subconscious beliefs that are in the way of you expanding your mind. So maybe you believe that you're not good at learning, right? Or maybe you believe that you have previous beliefs about spirituality that conflict with what you want to learn next, right? Or maybe you want to be alone, but you also want to explore. So you want to find a balance between needing to have that nesting and resting time and to process everything that's gone on over the last 12 months with your desire to explore new lands. So let's see, Virgo, what advice you get for your full moon in Leo, especially with that Uranian square. Let's see here. So for Virgo, Judgment. Okay, so the Judgment card really is all about doing whatever it is that you can to really weigh your decisions, right? I think with the 12th house, the Judgment card, it's a matter of taking a definite step, right? And being like, okay, obviously I've gotten myself in this situation ad infinitum, over and over and over again. What beliefs do I have, right? And how can I make a decision to change them? Maybe it's a matter of you need to, with the Judgment card, embark on some kind of spiritual or learning journey to change your subconscious beliefs, right? So with the Judgment card, the advice is to definitely take a definite step, like definitely create a boundary between your past and your future. Just say, I'm no longer dealing with X, right? And it also might be about just doing what you can to take steps to really nurture your subconscious mind, especially your beliefs. First, we make our beliefs, and then our beliefs make us. And also, I think that if you're looking to explore, right, or you want to go on a trip, or you want to get more educated, well, this card would suggest just doing it, just going for it. I think in terms of decisions with the Judgment card, the better you weigh your decisions, the more carefully you weigh them, Virgo, the better they're going to be. So there's a new beginning for you. You're rising up. So I think that especially with the subconscious, because our subconscious is so much, right? So enjoy your full moon in Leo, Virgo. So for Libra, you have a full moon in your 11th house. So this is the house of hopes, dreams, wishes, goals, friends, community. So it's time to embrace your friendships, your community, and your wildest dreams. So you want to strike a balance with your needs for community and achieving your goals with your needs for boundaries, other resources, and intimacy. So Libra, essentially what's going on is you have the full moon shining in your 11th house, with all about your friends and your goals, but then you also have this Uranian square going on in Taurus that's hitting your 8th house of other people's resources, right? And sex, death, intimacy. Usually the 8th house has to do with things that we get from other people, right? It could be their money, it could be their family members, it could be their towels that they leave on the floor, whatever, right? It's what we get by virtue of having other people in our lives. So with this, it seems like there might be some issue with your broader goals and dreams and what you're or who you are in bed with, metaphorically as well as literally. So it might be a matter of you have big dreams, but you're in a joint enterprise, or you have big dreams, but you might be indebted to somebody else. So it's all about doing what you can to go after your dreams and at the same time preserve what you really care about. Additionally, it could be a matter of there's an issue between your friends, 11th house, and more of your intimate connections. So doing whatever it is that you can to have a balance between those two, right? Making sure that your friends are being that you're enjoying your friends and that they're enjoying you, but also maintaining your more intimate relationships. It could be one of those things like your friends and your partner don't get along, or it could be a matter of your friends don't like who you're doing business with or in bed with, right? So we shall see. Let's see what you could learn for this Libra full moon. Excuse me, Leo full moon, Libra. What wisdom will be helpful for you? Let's see here. Wisdom for Libra for this full moon. The Lovers. So the Lovers card is really all about you creating a new air cycle. So it's a closing of an air cycle. It's a beginning of an air cycle. So the Lovers would suggest that you create something new with your friends and your community, and also start some new communications in your shared enterprises or your joint enterprises with whomever you're in bed with, literally or financially, right? So it's also about communication, dialogue, and debate. So this card would suggest that if there's an issue between your hopes and your dreams and what you're already committed to, or between your friends and community and those that you're committed to or those investments that you have, it's about dialoguing with them. Definitely doing whatever it is that you can to dialogue, right? Talk about what's a concern of yours and just lay it on the line, right? But it's about starting a new cycle communication-wise. So maybe it's a matter of you are starting to connect with a community or a group on a regular basis, and maybe you just need a dialogue with with whomever you're in business with, right? You need to talk to them about, well, I have bigger dreams, I want to do this, but talking and dialoguing and starting new communications is going to be key for you this full moon. So keep in mind that. And let's see. Scorpio's next. Scorpio rising. This is going to be a really cool full moon for you. So the full moon for you, Scorpio, is hitting your 10th house. So it's a very professional transit for sure. And your reputation and public image is really the name of the game. So the issue is, Scorpio, with this full moon in your 10th house, there may be a challenge balancing your ambitions with your close partnerships. So you have a 10th house issue. The full moon is hitting your 10th house. It's shining a light in your career. And then there's a square in your 7th house pertaining to your partnerships. So this could be classic, your hubby or wife or whatever, significant other. Why are you always working? You're always working. You never have time for us, right? Or it could be a matter of work needs you so much that you want to spend time with your significant other, but you can't, right? Because you have so much work. Or it could be a matter of there's a conflict in terms of what you want to do to climb up the corporate ladder, or some ladder, right? Conflicts with what your significant other has in mind for you. So it's a matter of finding a balance between your career and making your relationships work and making them happy, because there's a little bit of conflict there this full moon between your professional life and your relationships. So finding out how you can fix that would be beneficial. Let's see. Some wisdom for you, Scorpio, for this full moon in Leo. Okay. You got Page of Pentacles. So Page of Pentacles is about learning the elements of, the earth element, right? Learning and being like really, really bare bones practical, just like starting from scratch and just being really basic about it, right? So it's a matter of doing what you need to do to get ahead professionally, and doing what you need to do to cultivate and nurture your relationships. You can do both. I think with the Page of Pentacles, it's a matter of really working with that earth element, like going for tangible results, making tangible results in your career, getting that raise or getting that promotion or getting that new duty or assignment. But also with Page of Pentacles, in terms of relationships, it's about trust, and it's also can very much be about physicality, because it's an earth energy, right? So one way that you might be able to balance it, say you're having to spend more time at work and you're neglecting your hubby. Well, maybe it's a matter of you can enjoy more physical interactions, right, with the Page of Pentacles, and that might make it better, right? Or maybe you both invest in something, or maybe you establish stronger trust in your relationship. But just be like basically extremely practical and earthy, and really focusing on what you can sense, right? And I think in terms of your relationship, really doing whatever it is that you can to make your partner feel loved, make them feel nourished and nurtured. And I think with Page of Pentacles and all the pentacles, right, they believe in what they can actually sense and feel. So it might be as simple as giving your significant other a foot rub, right, or a back rub, whatever, in order to show how much you love them, communicating them. And again, it's about trust. It's like, okay, well, look, sweetheart, I have these goals that I need to go for, so that's why, right? But be practical, and you should be all set this full moon for sure. Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius, this full moon is in your 9th house, the house that your sign rules. The house that rules your sign, 9th house. So it's time for you to embrace pleasure through higher learning, travel, and philosophy. If you can adjust your beliefs, values, and ideals accordingly, that would be great, because that's going to be what gets you to that next level. So the balance that you need to strike is between your personal growth and your sixth house, which has to do with work, health, and habits, and lifestyle. So essentially, this big light that's shining on your ninth house, and it's like, oh, I want to learn this, or I want to go here, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then you have the square of the sixth house, which is mundane tasks, right? It's our day-to-day grind, our daily lifestyle. So it's like work, health, service, and duties. So you have these like big plans and schemes that you want to explore, right? But you also have work to do, right? Or it could be a health issue, right? With the sixth house, maybe you don't feel as great as you usually do. So actually going on a trip could be strenuous for you. But in any case, you can find a balance between that ninth house and sixth house, Sagittarius. Let's just see. Or it could be a matter of you want to go on vacation, but you have to work, right? It could be as simple as that. But let's see what balance wisdom that you can get from the tarot for your full moon in Leo, Sagittarius. Ooh, I love this card. This is perfect. So Nine of Discs is love of work made visible, among other things. So when we love what we do and we do it with love, it becomes visible, as in pentacles, as in money, right? So this is a card really is about having it all, right? It's about hitting the mark. It's about realizing, okay, well, my lifestyle is pretty sweet, right? Focusing on that. With Nine of Discs, it's a matter of, knowing that you do have it all and to really be consciously grateful for the job that you have, for the duties that you have on a regular basis, and finding some way to really definitely enjoy the finer things in life. I think with this card, you might not necessarily be able to go on vacation, right? But you might be able to take a day trip, right? That could be much more practical, because then you're going to be able to handle your day-to-day responsibilities without missing a beat, right? So enjoy the finer things in life with this card, even if you can't explore as much as you would like, or maybe you can't get that higher ed degree that you want to get. You might be able to take a class online. So it's a matter of the message with the Nine of Pentacles here is, if you're limited in some ways, meaning you can't go on that trip overseas, there might be something that's even better, right? It might be a matter of you need to just go to the town over and have a great time, or whatever it is. So keep that in mind for your full moon in Leo, Sagittarius. And Capricorn, well, Capricorn, this is going to be quite the intense full moon for you, Cap, because it's hitting your 8th house of death, rebirth, and transformation. So Capricorn, you can shine this full moon through intimacy and sharing resources. It's time for you to assert yourself, because you're likely to be in a very advantageous position, Capricorn, to negotiate. So definitely negotiate. The 8th house is really about boundaries. So there might be some boundary you set this full moon, or dissolve. And you're having to make a balance between your boundaries and your shared resources with concerns about self-expression, creativity, and children. So essentially, you have a light that's shining in your 8th house, and that's about your resources with other people, your shared enterprises, your resources, however you're in bed with somebody, either literally or figuratively, right? And then you have a conflict there with you being able to express yourself, right? So there's an issue in terms of you being in bed with somebody, but also needing to express yourself and be creative. It also could be, if you have children, there's an issue between your connections with other people, and there's a conflict perhaps with your children. This could be as simple as moving in with somebody, right? 8th house, and then your child hates your new beau, right? That could be an instance in regard to that, right? It also could be a matter of, with the 8th house, you want to, transform and you want to transition, and you're wondering where having a child or your children play into that, right? So it's about balancing the death that you're going through right now with your need to like have fun and express yourself, and also make sure that your children's needs are being met if you have children, and also leaving room for having children if that's part of your agenda. So with the full moon transit in the 8th house, Cap, you have to definitely die. Like, it's a metaphorical death. Something is ending. That's most likely. So what is it that you want to let go of, and how can that lead you to better self-expression and being more true to you? And how can you really nurture your children, be them literal children that you have, right? Or children like creative projects that you do, right? So it's definitely a transitional time for you, for sure, with the 8th house transit. Sure. But let's see here, Capricorn, what wisdom we get from the tarot for your sign this full moon. Well, this is nice. I love seeing this for Capricorn. So the Knight of Cups is throned on the 9 of Cups, which is called happiness. So this card is all about your emotional ideals. This is a really great card. So essentially, you're going through a death, right? So you got to figure in your mind, what is the ultimate, like what is the best case scenario, right? With the Knight of Cups, because he's very idealistic. He's very high flying. So think of the best case scenario in terms of your joint resources with other people, even in terms of intimacy. Like what's your ultimate intimate experience, right? What people would you like to connect with and join forces with, right? And then with the 5th house, it's a matter of definitely creating an emotional ideal, or definitely expressing yourself emotionally in your work, be it a business project that you're working on, or a screenplay, or even having children, right? So doing whatever you can to really go after that emotional ideal would be super helpful for you. The Knight of Cups is a high flyer, right? He's really extreme. So definitely think about your ideals. This might be a really great time to do a vision board, right? And to focus on like, this is my ideal situation. Because if you're going through a death, you may as well like die and let go of all that stuff that is not ideal, that will open the door for your ideal scenarios. Enjoy your full moon, Capricorn. Aquarius. So this full moon is taking place in your opposite sign, Leo, which means that it's time to shine in your partnerships, your personal and professional partnerships. And you might need to adjust yourself, right? So make adjustments. It's all about compromise when we're dealing with a 7th house transit. The big thing for you is that it's making a square with your 4th house of home, family, and emotional security. So maybe with this transit, essentially it's like this. The moon is shining, a big, it's light, and it's illuminating partnerships for you, right? So a partnership could begin, it could end, it could change, but then there's a square going on in your 4th house, which has to do with your home, family, and emotional security. So basic would be your new partner does not get along with your family at all, or your family just does not like your choice in guys or girls, right? So it's a matter of how do you balance that out? Or it could be a matter of what your partner needs conflicts with what you need for yourself emotionally, right? Could be that. So let's see, Aquarius, what you need to do to balance your new beginning or your completion in terms of relationships, and a little bit of conflict with home, family, emotional security. So some wisdom for Aquarius this full moon. Okay. Well, Queen of Swords. So Queen of Swords is actually ruled by the sign of Aquarius. So it's very apropos, right? Queens are ruled by the fixed signs, and it's air, so it's Aquarius. So the Queen of Swords would suggest that you be cool, right? Queen of Swords is very, she can be a little chilly, right? She's just very, very, very intelligent, and she doesn't really easily get swayed by other people. She's very, very logical and linear and rational. So that's going to be key, right? Especially if there's a conflict between your relationships and your family, you got to be the cool person. You got to be very lawyer-like, right? And really just be like, we got to get along, right? You got to tell your husband, like, you need to be on your best behavior if this is going to work. Or you tell a family member, hey, this is my life partner. Like, don't talk to him that way, whatever it might be. But be cool. You might have to do a little bit of cutting. I don't think this necessarily means cutting somebody out of your life necessarily, but being very like blunt, like this won't wash, or don't do this, or this is how things are going. So just be really cool with any conflicts that you have pertaining your relationships and your family. And let's see, Pisces, last but certainly not least, this full moon is hitting your 6th house. So it's about unleashing the love in your daily routine. The 6th house has to do with work, health, and your day-to-day grind, right? So it's time for you to shine in your service and your self-improvement. So the challenge may be actually coordinating your schedule while communicating effectively and socializing, right? So you have the full moon illuminating your day-to-day life, your habits, your routines, your schedules, your work, your health, your diet, exercise, like what you do day in and day out. So there's an opportunity now to really express your soul through your day-to-day activities. The issue is that there's a square going on in your 3rd house, right? So the 3rd house is really all about like connecting and socializing and learning. So there's a conflict essentially between your schedule and your communications with the things that you want to say or do, or the things that you want to learn. So you essentially have to find a balance between what you have going on right now in your schedule, and also your need to communicate or to learn, to talk with other people. This also could be an issue between work, 6th house, and also communicating with clients or employees or your boss, etc. So there needs to be some kind of balance in terms of work and health and your communications. So just do whatever it is that you can to, first and foremost, express love throughout your day-to-day lifestyle, right? Doing whatever you can to really express yourself and to add love to every single day, right? Be it, the oatmeal that you have, or, the run that you take at night, whatever it might be, right? But let's see, Pisces, what you need to know or what will be helpful wisdom for you this full moon in Leo. Let's see. The Fool. Great. So the Fool card is essentially, it's all about like starting from scratch, right? It's like ultimate potential. It's number 0, the Fool. So this would be advising you to like start fresh. Like, don't feel like you need to be beholden to any schedule or any job, and don't feel like you have to follow protocol always. Like, maybe it's a matter of switching up your schedule, right? Maybe it's a matter of, having breakfast with your friends or with the community, or starting a group in which you're all going for drinks at night. So that is balancing your lifestyle, right, with fun and communications. Or maybe it's a matter of doing what you can and just being like, boss, I need some time off so I can take this class. Or even asking your boss, if you're working for a company or whatever, can I go and learn this, right? But it's about doing something that you wouldn't normally do, that throws your schedule for a loop a little bit, like changes the plan and allows you to communicate and say those things and do those things that you find enjoyable. I think also with the Fool card, it's about going out on a limb. So like, for instance, if this is an issue between you communicating well in your job with your boss, it might be a matter of just being the Fool and being like, can I talk to you about something? I just need to get this off my chest, whatever. But this is saying take a leap of faith, Pisces. Allow yourself to just enjoy yourself. So, yeah. Well, that is it, folks, for your Tarotscopes. I hope this was fun for you. Does anybody have any questions or anything you want to talk about before I leave? I really appreciate everybody joining. We've got a nice crowd here tonight. Definitely. Oh, your mom is a Pisces? That's nice, but she should be having quite the good transit. Well, everyone, I really do appreciate you joining me live, but also catching this later. If you're looking for further insight into what's going on, so show my super chats. Thank you, Carlin. Okay, I'll do that. I didn't know I had super chat capabilities. I don't know. This is the first time I'm ever seeing that, which is so cool. Good luck in your stream. Have fun. Thank you, LK. Let me see how else I can do this. This is the first time getting super chats. It's pretty awesome. I didn't know I actually had the capability of getting those. This is a nice little surprise. Let's see. Okay, will my recession-proof IT services business grow in 23? Well, why not? We'll do a quick little. Hopefully, Studio Owl will get this later if he's not still here. Will my recession-proof IT services business grow in 23? Let's see. So, yes, it looks like it will grow in 23. You have the star card that comes up for that, which is really, really nice. But you're going through a transition with your business. You're definitely moving from one area to another professionally. And then with the High Priestess, it's evolving, it's changing. Just be open, because with the High Priestess, it's ruled by the moon. Things are fluctuating for you in terms of your business. So it will grow, but it's going to evolve. So you're going to be changing it before it grows. So just keep that in mind. In any case, everybody, it was nice to see you all. I do, of course, readings, coaching classes, and I give certificates and parties too if you're in Los Angeles. So have a wonderful full moon, and be sure to catch me on Monday. On Monday, I have This Week Astrology. The link to that is in the description of this video, actually. And we'll talk about Jimi Hendrix, Cindy Williams, who unfortunately we lost this past week, and one of my favorite guys, Sly Stallone. They all have aspects in their charts that we will have next week in our heavens. So we'll talk all about that, and I hope to see you then. Have a wonderful full moon in Leo, everyone, and a wonderful weekend too. All right. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.